Self-love is a topic that has become quite recurrent nowadays, as the number of cases where we see people manipulated or feeling lacking in skills and value has increased. It has become more necessary to address these kinds of issues. The lack of self-love is something that can profoundly affect your life to the point where the worst decisions are made, so societies are encouraging the recognition of that value and strength within ourselves, offering as much love and understanding to ourselves as we would to others. Loving oneself is opening the possibility to experience pure and sincere surrender, embracing every part of our being and what it represents, seeing with transparency the incredible way we have been created and honoring it. Undoubtedly, loving ourselves is something beautiful and entirely necessary. Besides the psychological factor involved in self-love, it is something that energetically carries a lot of weight, imprinting a person with a great strength from which they can reach their goals and desires. Dolores spoke about the importance and weight of self-love in individuals and how it can aid in the growth and evolution of the soul, consequently affecting the journey each of us is undertaking in the midst of this plane. That's why today we are going to delve into the most important points of self-love, exploring some ways to give ourselves love. I can guarantee that if you pay attention to this information, you will leave our meeting today renewed and feeling the powerful force of your self-love. So, without further delay, let's embark on this wonderful journey. Number 1. Forgiveness. The first point we encounter is truly broad and has much to explore. Forgiveness is a subtle act through which, rather than just uttering a single word and moving on, a person dares to heal that deep wound that an event or action has left us. As human beings, we all can be greatly affected by events or outcomes that we did not expect. Many things, from an emotional and energetic perspective, have the potential to leave a lasting impact on us, and a significant portion of these events often go untreated by us. There isn't a single person who embarks on a journey or a project expecting it to go wrong, and when, unfortunately, that is the outcome we face, we are filled with pain and resentment. In some cases, we choose to blame ourselves for what has gone wrong, magnifying our pain by thinking about those individuals whom we feel could have contributed to preventing the disaster but failed to do so. We look at others with resentment, and even worse, we are harsh in our self-judgment. When I speak of being harsh, I mean that we become truly hurtful to our own selves. Although in most cases, we don't express outwardly what we say to ourselves internally, we manage to tell ourselves how foolish we have been, how incompetent and how lacking in foresight we were to predict the unfolding events. In very specific cases, we might even realize our failure to read the intentions of the person who has hurt us, as if we should always harbor the feeling that things can go wrong and evaluate all possible scenarios from that standpoint. Innocence or good faith are not aspects of a person that should induce shame, as they merely indicate that the soul is vibrating in harmony with the highest vibrational frequencies. Shame should arise from aligning ourselves with energies of deceit, betrayal, and wrongdoing. If we find ourselves in a situation stemming from such energy, it should only serve as evidence that not everyone is at the same point in their journey. From there, we can cultivate compassion toward others and their challenges. Even if you perceive this as a challenging ordeal, the truth is that holding on to these negative feelings within ourselves yields nothing, and the thoughts that arise from them are never clear, much less accurate. Experiencing a traumatic or profoundly painful event can lead us to harbor a great deal of resentment towards ourselves. Immediately, we may cling to this feeling and cautiously navigate our actions to avoid suffering such a situation again. However, the truth is that maintaining a sense of resentment or constant self-flagellation will not exempt us from the possibility of facing a painful situation again. On the contrary, holding on to that energy and not healing properly only ensures that at any moment we may experience something similar once more. It's essential to remember that we are energy, and every emotion and thought we hold within ourselves will manifest in our reality in events of the same nature. Clinging tightly to such things brings no positive outcomes. According to Dolores canon, one of the fundamental keys in the journey of our soul is forgiveness. Forgiveness helps us liberate ourselves from everything that only represents an extra burden for us and keeps us stuck at a certain point in our process. Forgiving ourselves, more than a simple act of moving on, invites us to delve into the emotions and wounds that certain events have opened, understanding their origins and our influence on them. While it is true that responsibility for what we experience lies within ourselves in many instances, there are points in our journey specifically designed for us to develop certain skills or acquire knowledge crucial for the rest of our journey. Before our soul arrives on this plane, it selects the type of experience it wishes to live, designing the route it will traverse to evolve and refine certain aspects of itself. Rather than seeking blame and faults in what happened, we must be able to understand that even falls and difficult moments are necessary in the midst of this journey we are undertaking. Just as we practice love and compassion with others, we must do the same for ourselves. Embracing these moments with understanding and forgiveness allows your being to see itself as human, a position in which we have every right to fail and rise again, trying with greater strength and determination. Looking at others with distrust and yourself with resentment will not contribute anything to your evolution. These are energies that you must discard, and each thing that generates them is an opportunity for healing and learning. So, be compassionate with yourself and give yourself the gift of forgiveness. Number 2, unconditional love and acceptance. When we talk about perpetual love, it should be understood as unconditional love that, unlike the false love we often receive, does not depend on achievements, merits, or economic status. It is, if you will, an unconditional love based on accepting oneself as is, including limitations, abilities, and shadows. A person is not solely composed of the beautiful aspects of life, the good and the joy. It's important to understand that true love must transcend superficial aspects and focus on deeper aspects such as feelings and principles that govern individuals. This is where many fail when claiming to give love, and this aspect should be taken into even greater consideration when talking about the love we give to ourselves. People need to learn to recognize their own qualities and offer themselves a high level of acceptance, one that goes beyond the shadows everyone possesses, because there is not a single person without less positive aspects. Each of us is a being created in perfection, and even those sides we consider ugly or less deserving of love need to be honored by us. Instead of trying to hide them, we should embrace them, allowing all other aspects of our being to unfold until completing the full image of ourselves. People often fail to understand why it is so important to give ourselves love and acceptance, and to make this a recurring and sustained practice. There are even cases where individuals feel that the only love and approval they need come from outside. Although it may seem impossible to believe, there are many people worldwide who end up seeking love externally when the foundation of everything is within ourselves. We must remember that from within, we project into reality everything we wish to have and experience. It is thanks to our being that each aspect surrounding us presents itself in the way it does. We play such a fundamental role in everything we know and experience that it is inconceivable to think that we may not see ourselves as deserving of love, acceptance, and compassion. Unfortunately, these are real cases where individuals struggle to recognize how great and valuable they truly are. One of the greatest demonstrations of self-love is undoubtedly offering ourselves acceptance and love, being empathetic to what we feel, and completely exposing ourselves to honor and give due credit to what we do and who we are. It is understandable at many points that we may not feel capable of giving love to others, that we feel limited in offering compassion and understanding. And sometimes we may even shield ourselves under the pressure of social expectations, preventing some from truly exposing themselves. However, when it comes to ourselves, there should be no limitations. No one knows us better than we know ourselves. There is not a single being that is unaware of their weaknesses or what they consider less beautiful. This is precisely why, when it comes to offering ourselves acceptance and love, we should feel no hindrance. No one knows us better than ourselves, and no one should love us more than we do, because, as I mentioned before, we cannot give what we do not have. If we are unable to accept who we are and the way we have been configured, we will not be able to genuinely accept and love another person. We simply cannot project outward something that we cannot generate within ourselves. It's important to understand that things don't always have to be painted in a beautiful or perfect standard. That's the wonderful thing about human beings and our souls. We come in such diverse forms, each one having attained a unique shape. It is in these differences that we find richness. If we learn to see and accept that, giving ourselves unconditional love, we will see life in its most beautiful nuances, and we will be the first witnesses to how our being flourishes. In cases where this is not possible, we must evaluate what blocks prevent us from giving ourselves love. In such cases, the support of a professional and undergoing regression therapy can be very useful, allowing the individual to become aware of the origin of the current issues they are grappling with. Number 3. Self-focus. At this point, we will discuss the person's ability to be fully immersed in the present moment, something that is not only useful, but also necessary and powerful. This is perhaps one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves. It may sound remarkable, but due to the dynamics we are going through and various social factors, we have become accustomed to constantly projecting our actions and what needs to be covered in the future, neglecting the most important moment of all, the present. This is why we see people constantly jumping from one place to another, only thinking about what comes next, generating high levels of stress and anxiety for themselves, and causing them to lose their lives just focusing on the next move. If you are one of these people, you might think that what is being discussed is not a big deal. However, this is when you should stop and think about how much attention you are giving to what is right in front of you. A human being can become so lost that even with situations that require attention right in front of their eyes, they simply do not see them because their gaze is fixed on the horizon and what might come from there. That person you care so much about might be right by your side expressing something that deeply affects them, and you simply do not pay attention because you are immersed in worries about tomorrow. Just when tomorrow becomes the present, it may surprise you to see that person suffering and standing at what they feel is a point of no return, something that could have been handled better and avoided with a little bit of your affection and understanding. Tomorrow has the incredible ability to capture all our attention and divert us from experiencing what is happening in the moment. Allowing this is one of the greatest acts of self-disregard you can have. Being in the present moment guarantees the ability to objectively evaluate your surroundings and offer yourself infinite honor and compassion. Nothing you do can be replicated exactly by another. Each of us possesses a magical and special touch, a unique signature that is often needed not only by ourselves but also by those around us. Being present and fully experiencing the present allows you to concentrate all your energy on what is happening now and transform it into something favorable for you and your journey. This is a powerful catalyst in the midst of your evolution. However, even if you are not immersed in the future, being completely attached to the past and what you lived through can be equally or even more detrimental. This generates a so-called nostalgia that can knock you down at any moment. Everything that happened in the past occurred perfectly, and there was no other way the universe could have conceived it taking place. The determinations and events surrounding that moment you hold in your mind were planned and orchestrated by the universe in a perfect way. According to what Dolores presented, each of our souls chooses the life experience it will have even before being born. designing a perfect route with stations or points where it would develop and work on a very special aspect of our being, something necessary for the evolution of our soul. From there, we must understand that even the bad things are orchestrated perfectly for our growth. Even the most terrible things end up having a positive connotation, serving as a catapult that propels us a little closer to the place where we want to be. So, storing any kind of feelings or longings for what is in the past makes no sense and is even less useful. It has simply been a part of your journey that, no matter how good or bad, has already passed and paved the way for everything that lies ahead. Let's become aware of this and give our being a focus on the present moment, which is truly the only one that matters and over which we have influence. It is the now that requires our complete attention and willingness to live. By giving yourself this focus, you will see how things flow more harmoniously, and of course, you will be nurturing that love for yourself. Number 4. Letting go of comparison. One of the most self-destructive attitudes we can adopt is undoubtedly subjecting ourselves to constant comparison with other people. This can make us feel small and inadequate. Although many use this as a means to gain confidence, the effect achieved is entirely the opposite. There are people accustomed to looking sideways and scrutinizing the achievements of others, doing so with the sole intention of weighing them against their own accomplishments to see which carries more weight. This is entirely unnecessary and negative. As I have mentioned before, one of the most beautiful qualities of human beings and our souls is the ability to create and shape our lives uniquely. We are so diverse that placing one of us next to another for comparison is truly unnecessary and impossible. We cannot measure one's success by what another has done, because it is more than obvious that the comparison will not be accurate or fair to either party. What's even more distressing than seeing others do it is when we dare to do it ourselves. At this point, I would like to address each one of you who converge with me in this space and say that you are a special, unique, and capable being who is doing everything in the best way you can. Therefore, you should not feel any anguish or sadness if someone else wishes to compare you. These are actions that people execute out of ignorance and lack of understanding to feel secure or correct. Beyond the false sense it gives them, there is nothing positive that can come from this act. If we continue to see others falling into this vicious circle of comparisons, we should let go of it, release this matter, because it does not concern us. But if you are the one who cannot let go of comparing yourself to others, you must understand that you are engaging in a strong act of self-destruction and a lack of self-love. It's essential to confront this issue before it gains more power in your life. And by doing so, I can guarantee that you will be infusing your being with a powerful sense of self-love. Your life does not need to be the benchmark for anyone's success or failure. It is simply your reality and your personal journey, which ultimately converges into the collective journey that all human beings share. As you progress, you will encounter many challenges and points, and the necessary tools will appear and develop. Everything you experience will be orchestrated in favor of your soul and its evolution. Understanding this is wonderful and instills great confidence, but more importantly, it is crucial to understand that the pace at which each one travels on this path is dictated by our soul and its ability to transform for the better. Our process is entirely different from any other, and that's because our soul requires it in this way. This doesn't mean that your soul is less or worse than another, that it has greater or lesser capacity. It simply indicates that it is transforming into its perfect form at a pace that is just right. So, why rush? We gain nothing by staying in competition, accomplish nothing by trying to hurry things along, and certainly cannot go through life trying to dodge that moment of change that we know will come. Some of us will arrive there sooner, and others later. If we truly want to assist with this process, the most beneficial approach is to do so by understanding and accepting our capabilities. This can align perfectly with what was mentioned earlier about self-acceptance and the unconditional love we demonstrate to ourselves. Being empathetic and compassionate with ourselves opens a door to healing and evolution, making things begin to flow more smoothly. However, it is also necessary to let go of the weight imposed by comparison. Completely release any need to be an object of comparison, and redirect all that energy you used for comparisons into something more beneficial for you. As discussed in the previous point, focus on the present, on what you are experiencing, and let go of anything else. Liberating yourself from comparison will be one of the best gifts you can give yourself. It will open the doors to a world of possibilities, enrich you, and make you feel better about yourself. Remember that it doesn't matter who arrives first or last. What's important is that we all arrive. Number 5. Establishing boundaries. Perhaps many people have already emphasized the importance of setting boundaries. It's not only an energetic matter, but also psychological and social. Unfortunately, in our current social dynamics, we can see how people tend to be invasive in many aspects of others' lives. This leads to the person whose personal space is being violated experiencing discomfort. But no one can invade a space, whether physical or mental, without the other person allowing it. Therefore, rather than pointing fingers at the person committing this error, we must look at the person who is allowing it and neglecting their own care. No one else bears greater responsibility for your well-being than yourself. It's important that we learn to detect when something or someone is hurting us or causing discomfort. We must become vigilant guardians of our well-being, balance, and especially our energy, not allowing anyone to negatively affect us. Everything and everyone that comes into our lives should always be welcomed if their intention is positive. However, if the intention is otherwise, we must learn to close the door to them. Both things and people can be categorized into two groups: those that are beneficial and bring good things into our lives, and those that do not. In the first group, we find everything we should keep, while in the second group, we find what we should block. Some people claim that with high self-esteem, we can receive negative comments and simply say that we don't care. However, the correct approach is to stop the person making these comments and ask them to cease, not to utter them anymore, and to take the relationship into a zone of respect. While some may fear the reaction the other person might have, it is more formidable to live feeling that this person is only there to destroy our confidence and self-love. Remember that if you stop those who hurt you in one way or another with intrusions, there will only be two possible scenarios. In the first, the person understands that their actions have been hurting you and, out of love for you, stops them and seeks to heal the wounds in your relationship. In this scenario, we must understand that the person was just confused about how far they could go with you, and with a line of respect marked, they will honor it, and their treatment and connection with you will be much better moving forward. The second possible scenario is one in which the person will get offended and end up attacking you for seeking to establish healthy boundaries, because they will perceive this as an attack on their person or an exclusion from your life. In this case, we must understand that this person does not feel true love for you, because when one truly loves in any form, even though the shock of the first moment may be harsh, eventually that person will internalize what you are asking and will come to understand that you only want to safeguard your well-being. Like you, they will work to ensure that you are well and comfortable. You should not feel bad if this person you have tried to set boundaries with becomes upset because you have done nothing wrong, nor have you offended them. You have simply taken care of yourself and demonstrated the value and respect you deserve. This is a very strong and powerful act of self-love, one that should be implemented in the face of any type of person, as there is no type of relationship that conceives the idea that we should allow ourselves to be abused and invaded by others. A characteristic of people who are invasive and do not respect boundaries is their ability to feel in total power, to infringe upon others and their ideas and criteria. They feel they are in a position from which they can express their opinions or maintain their abusive actions. And yes, even if you don't want to see it or call it that way, when a person does not respect your boundaries and your sense of well-being, it becomes abusive. That's why, if they refuse to see their mistake, they should be removed from your life promptly. As you try to set your boundaries, they will only react by trying to push even harder in those areas where you ask for respect. To create healthy bonds and harmonious relationships, it is important that you communicate with people and express what the limits are in the interaction, how far they can go, and how much their love and concern allow them to act on you. Do not limit yourself when it comes to setting boundaries because someone is your partner, a very close friend, or even your family, because someone who truly honors, respects, and loves you will understand that all these actions arise from self-love. This is a strong gift of love to yourself, and I can guarantee that as you put it into practice, you will begin to feel that your bonds and relationships become more beautiful and strong, and your being will be charged with extra and special energy. Number 6. Transform your life into a version where you feel more fulfilled. This is the final point in our journey, and it speaks to how changing our lives to a version closer to what we desire is a demonstration of self-love. According to Dolores, within us lies the necessary power to change everything we dislike about our reality. This is a capability that all human beings possess, as a creative and divine power was deposited within us, which we can become aware of and start using to our advantage. There isn't a single thing in our realities that we cannot modify, and this is a wonderful quality that many are still unaware of. Some people talk about their power to change certain things, but they don't truly grasp the depth and scope of their potential. Dolores expressed that everything we project into our inner selves, to which we give space and nourish with our energy, eventually manifests in our reality, whether we are consciously or unconsciously maintaining that energy within us. It ends up taking shape in front of us. However, just as we often end up manifesting negative situations and things, we can also manifest what we desire and erase the footprint of the negativity that has affected our lives. Daring to empower ourselves and realizing the potential within us is crucial in the journey of our soul. It implies unlocking a new level of consciousness from which we walk confidently and with faith in ourselves and our capabilities. If we stand firmly in what we desire and commit ourselves from the depths to work towards it, there's no type of energy or external factor that can prevent us from achieving our goal. As I always say, there's nothing external that can stop you on the path to what you truly desire. Those barriers that many speak of don't actually exist. It's all in the person's mind, and if they see barriers and obstacles, they only come from within themselves. When you can see this clearly and become aware of your power, everything begins to move favorably in your direction. However, even though many understand this perfectly and are aware of their power, they end up hesitating to take the step towards transformation due to unfounded fears. It seems that some fear what others might say when they see their life transforming in one way or another. Deep down, they believe that they will be criticized and seek to avoid that criticism by conforming to the norm. The life and reality you live are yours alone, and it should please and obey your desires, because you cannot generate pleasure for others at the cost of your own suffering. Living a life aligned with the visions and opinions of others is living in agony. We have come to this plane to live in well-being and learn as we travel the path. Recognizing that we can make our reality what we desire is a necessary alignment with our true purpose and the mission of our soul. Understanding that our inner self subtly guides us to all the points we must traverse is important, but amidst them, we can draw the reality we dream of. Going beyond criticism ensures that we live fully and aligned with what we desire, ensuring a life of fulfillment and happiness. Others fear embarking on change because they think they might end up failing. but failure and setbacks are part of our life and journey. We learn from each of them and refine what is necessary to eventually achieve what we have set out for ourselves. If you fall, you only need to focus on getting back up, because as long as you do, you're guaranteed a new path to pursue what you desire. It doesn't matter how fast or slow it is, this is your process, and the only thing that matters is that you will succeed, overcome what's necessary, and see your dreamed reality manifest. It doesn't matter if others don't share the vision you have for the way your life should unfold, because in the end, you are the one who will live it. No one will abandon their reality to live yours, and certainly, no one will feel the same sadness as you if you end up inhabiting a reality that you dislike. An important part of loving ourselves is understanding our needs and desires, working to fulfill them, and obtaining everything we seek from the depths of our being. By setting aside vanity and social prejudices, we can align ourselves with what our soul truly wants and needs, creating a life that is perfectly tailored to ourselves. You must take care of yourself and love yourself above all else, always daring to take a step forward in deciding how things will unfold for you. Your well-being and happiness are the most important things on earth. If, like me, you believe that self-love is essential for all human beings, let me know with a like. And if you know other ways to show love to ourselves, I would appreciate it if you shared them with me, and everyone gathered here through the comments section. Remember that in this space, we are here to share knowledge, tools, and valuable things. If this is your intention, I invite you to subscribe so that you can stay up to date with each of our new encounters. I am very happy to have you with me on each new occasion, and as we await our next meeting, I send you many blessings and encourage you to immerse yourself in the waters of self-love.